What's up, Comicbook.com? BD here, guys. Happy Wednesday. It's time for Comic Book Now. We're running through the top 5 stories. We actually kind of got 6 today, but we're running through the top stories in the past 24 hours. Comic Book Now begins right now. We're talking Game of Thrones a little bit in the off-season. SpiderMan Homecoming. Got a couple casting announcements, and we're talking Flash cameo. A certain Justice League is going to pop up in that movie. And, of course, we're going to talk a little bit about Fear the Walking Dead and The Walking Dead because I love that universe. All right, let's start off with Game of Thrones. Guys, the off-season is long. It's cold. Winter has arrived. Kit Harington is talking about that revival that we saw at the beginning of Season 6. Spoiler alert. Sorry if you're behind on that, guys. I mean, I don't know. Do you live under a rock? Should we start calling you Patrick? Kit Harington said that he felt a little bit of disappointment when he first read. See, they got my Patrick Star joke. Kit Harington said that he felt a little bit of disappointment when he first read the script that said how they brought him back to life, because he was wondering, is he going to come back as a villain? Is he going to come back as a different person? No, he just came back as Jon Snow, but then he started thinking about it, and he said that now he's the only one in that world, which this is not entirely true, but he said that he's the only one in that world who knows what happens in the afterlife. He's the only one to have died and come back and know that there is no afterlife, which kind of changes him and really drives everything that he's deciding to do going forward. And he won the Battle of the Bastards, so far that motivation is doing him well. Take that, Ramsey Bolton. All right, next up, let's talk about SpiderMan Homecoming. This movie looks epic, and so does this poster. Is it official? Is it fan-made? We can't confirm it yet, but apparently this SpiderMan Homecoming poster is on display at Magic Las Vegas, a trade show out there in Vegas, and if it's on Twitter and the internet, it has to be true, right? Anyway, it's really cool. I mean, check out the web slingers on Spidey's wrist. We know those came from Tony Stark. Those upgrades to the suit. We saw that post-credit scene in Civil War. If that's spoiled, you know, what are you doing here if you haven't seen Civil War and watched Game of Thrones, guys? I'm sorry if I'm dropping these spoilers on you. No, I'm not. But, you know, no confirmation, obviously. Some people on the internet or on Twitter are starting to react to this thing, saying they think it's fan-made. In any case, if that's fan-made, that's super impressive. But we can't say it's official. That's the bottom line. Anyway, Spider-Man Homecoming doesn't hit theaters till July. It'd be interesting if they are dropping posters already. I guess we'll have to wait and see and maybe find this in some high-res, high-quality, official quality from Marvel down the line, or a different poster, whatever. We'll get one eventually. Next up, we got a couple casting announcements. Keira Knightley has joined the live-action Nutcracker movie, Nutcracker in the Four Realms. She's playing the Sugar Plum Fairy. She'll be alongside Morgan Freeman and Mackenzie Foy. When I hear Sugar Plum Fairy, I just think of Charlie from Lost, how he used to count. 1 Sugar Plum Fairy, 2 Sugar Plum. All right, anyway, no one cares. Next casting announcement was Mallory Jansen has been cast in S.H.I.E.L.D. That's her on the other side of Keira Knightley there. You know her from the musical comedy on ABC, Gallivant. She's hopping over to the other ABC series. She's playing a robot named Alda. Very little is known about the character so far. We'll have to wait. You know how Marvel likes to keep things top secret, obviously. But other cast members who have joined in the offseason include Jason O'Mara and Parminda Nagra, director of S.H.I.E.L.D. So S.H.I.E.L.D. is growing, very exciting. Speaking of growing, let's talk about the DC Extended Universe, which is growing really, really quickly. The Flash movie is going to have a certain Justice League cameo, just like Suicide Squad did with The Flash and Batman. This time The Flash, I don't know. I think it might be a little bit more than a cameo. That's what I've kind of heard a little bit in the rumor mill. But either way, Cyborg is going to be there. That's the word on the street. Cyborg is going to be in the Flash movie. And I'll tell you, when I was on the Justice League set, it looked like Ezra Miller and Ray Fisher were just having an absolute blast. It seems like they're bringing a lot of fun to not only the set, but to the movie. Ezra Miller's Barry Allen, The Flash, is definitely injecting some humor in there, along with all that speed. But, you know, we know that these DC movies need to up the fun factor a little bit, right? So I think Ezra Miller and Ray Fisher are definitely bringing that to Justice League. And when we see them in Justice League, I think there's going to be even more reason to be excited about the fact that Cyborg is going to be in the Flash movie alongside Ezra. So if you want more on that story, obviously hit up ComicBook.com, get the full rumor, and check it out there. Finally, let's talk about Fear the Walking Dead. I talked to a couple of the cast members and the producer, Dave Erickson, and I asked them about this upcoming mid-season premiere and the upcoming episodes. I've seen the first 3. I thought they were great. Having said that, you know, I was a little skeptical going into them because there were those first 13 episodes we've had so far. There was little bits of greatness, but for the most part, the pacing was off. The characters were questionable. But, you know, we've stuck with it because it's in the Walking Dead world, and it's, you know, it's not that bad of a show. It's just that we compare it to The Walking Dead, which has almost 80 episodes in its pocket already. 157 comics were attached to those characters, and we got to get to know these Fear characters. Anyway, let's talk about what I talked to the producer about. Dave Erickson, I asked him, when is this group going to come together, right? This West Coast group was scattered to end season 2A. They were all in different places. Nick left his family behind, or stayed behind from his family, rather, to walk with the zombies. Madison, Strand, Alicia, and Ophelia went off to get back to the Abigail. And Travis and Chris went off on their own because Chris is just a threat to society. So they were like, all right, well, it's best if we isolate ourselves. Well, guess what? They are probably not going to reunite in season 2. That's typical drawing it out Walking Dead fashion. But I'll tell you this, the pacing in season 2 is really great. So don't get upset about that yet. But it sounds like season 2 is really going to build the world, this south of the border world. We've only seen the United States really in the Walking Dead universe, the East Coast. We just started to touch on the West Coast, and now we're in Mexico, Tijuana more specifically. So it looks like we're going to build on that world, and the group is going to really find themselves while trying to find each other. I'm totally game for it because I'm ready for some world building and some character growth. That is the most important thing that show has to do, is grow those characters. Anyway, now that I'm done ranting about Fear the Walking Dead, let's take a couple questions, which you guys should have been tweeting using hashtag #CBNow. We have a couple. What do we got? That you want to see the blue and gray Batman suit. Is this the question? Let's see. I think we have another tweet from the same person. What's the question? Does the tactical suit have any blue in it? No, the tactical suit doesn't really have any blue in it. I was on the set. I saw the concept art for the tactical suit. This tactical suit wasn't done yet. They're probably actually using it right about now because this was, I don't know, about 2, maybe 3 months ago. And at the time, Michael Wilkinson, the costume designer for Justice League, said that they had a lot of work to do on that costume. When I saw it, it was just a black mold, but they had the concept art right there. It was gray. It had some gold straps, almost like belt buckles around the core area. It was almost like a leaner version of the bat suit, but with like thinner but more armor. I guess that's the best way to put it. Almost like the Arkham Knight version. Or the Arkham Games version of the Batman costumes. The regular suit, though, which Ben Affleck stepped off the set and was standing right in front of me wearing, which was one of the coolest moments of my life. That one seems to have just a little, like little blue dots almost to add a bluish hue, almost like that Frank Miller-y type color, with where the blue gloves are. Instead, it seems like the suit itself actually got a blue touch with more interior armor upgrades. That's my description of it. We actually have really detailed descriptions of the suits up on ComicBook.com. You might have to do a little Google search because they're from about a month or 2 ago. We posted them, so just type in like Justice League costume descriptions, ComicBook.com on Google, and I bet you'll find them. I'm going to check the Facebook comments. What are we looking like? If you guys have questions, send them my way. Let's talk about what you want to talk about. Any news on Green Lantern Corps? I have nothing on that. They've been very quiet about that movie. They haven't cast anybody that we know of. They haven't really said which characters are going to be included, so sorry. The answer there on any news on Green Lantern Corps really is no, except that it's planned for, I think, 2020. Guys, we have 4 years and like 6, 7 more DC movies before that we got to look forward to. But yeah, I get the anxiety there. Who's all confirmed for Avengers Infinity War? Well, if you go by the poster that Robert Downey Jr. posted on his Facebook page, everybody, but that was fan-made. We can't say that was official. I mean, it had the Daredevil cast on there, it had the Jessica Jones cast, Iron Fist, Luke Cage, all the Netflix characters, all the Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. characters, and everybody pretty much who's ever been in the Marvel Cinematic Universe on the big screen on there, which I know everybody got super hyped about. I did too, but then I was like, breathe, it's not official. But I will be talking to the Russo brothers soon, so I'll talk to them about it. Every time I talk to them, they all but confirm that everyone is going to be there because they say Infinity War is the culmination of the Marvel Cinematic Universe to date, but they won't tell me whether or not the Netflix characters are going to be there. I think they'll be there at least in some fashion because if they're ever going to do that, it's in Infinity War. What do we got? Who's in Infinity War is another question. Amanda Waller in Justice League. I would be surprised if she wasn't there, but then again, based on that Suicide Squad post-credit scene, mild spoiler alert, I'd be surprised if she wasn't in the Batman movie at least, but I could see her totally popping up in Justice League, kind of being an advisor to the team there maybe. Let's find one more question. How about a good one? What's after Infinity War? Ooh, that's going to be interesting. Maybe New Avengers, Young Avengers. I talked to Kevin Feige at Comic-Con and I asked him what's next and if they're planning to kind of replace this cast because they're casting so many young people like Tom Holland, Chadwick Boseman, Brie Larson, and they're setting up a potential roster for a whole new Avengers lineup. And he said that they have plans for the next 5 years. They want to keep around this team as long as they can, like Chris Evans, Chris Hemsworth, Robert Downey Jr., but we know they can't do it forever. So I think we see a shift in the Avengers. I think we keep getting Avengers movies, but maybe we get new Avengers or young Avengers or different forms of Avengers movies just like that. but I think that that's what's coming. I think Spider-Man's totally going to take the lead on the Marvel Cinematic Universe. We only got a little piece of him in Civil War, and everybody loved it. So now that Marvel has gotten Spider-Man right, I think they're gonna. That's a great cornerstone to start building on for the MCU. All right, guys, that's all we got time for today. If you have more questions, tweet them using hashtag CBNow. We'll get to them tomorrow, or leave them in the comments section. If you want to talk more, hit me up on Twitter at BrandonDavisBD. Thanks so much for watching. Share it with your friends. Go get your news at ComicBook.com. I'm going to do the 22 push-up challenge to end the day. See you later.